Good afternoon. My name is Lucia Quesada, and our project team is conformed by Graciela Arguello, Jonathan Carcache, Ana Bárbara Quesada, and myself. Our group is going to present you our case study that is focused on the losses caused by mishandling of goods in the first three stages of the supply chain. These are packaging, labeling, and palletizing. The contents that we're about to present you are, first of all, the situation that the problematic that we chose is placed in. Secondly, the steps of the project. After that, we will explain you a little bit about the importance, definitions, and a little tips about the three main stages of the supply chain, which are packaging, labeling, and palletizing. After that, we will present you the possible solutions that we came up with, and later, the final solution that we think will be suited uh, in the best way for the problematic that we chose. And finally, the conclusions. Okay, first of all, I would like to ask you guys, did you know that in 2011, a study made by the United Nations Food and Agriculture, from now on known as FIO, did estimate that 30% of the world food was lost or wasted every year? Think about that figure nowadays. Food waste. This is a problem that our case study is focused on. A study made by the Ministry of Economic Development of Bogota have shown that the main reason for these huge amounts of food waste is produced by errors in handling, storage, packaging, and several stages on the supply chain. This is an enormous problem. Us, as professionals in our field, must understand that as countries, companies, and experts in trade, the decisions that we make have a huge economic and social impact. The FIO estimates that improving the food supply chain, this can help to lower the waste and therefore the costs for consumers, and as a result, increasing the access of food for everyone all around the world. As part of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, hunger is one of the biggest problems on the world, and food waste has caused a setback of minus 0.71 on the fight against hunger. This translates into more inequality and a bigger gap between the population that has access to food due to the increase in prices caused by these huge food losses and waste. According to the FIO, every year 1.3 billion tons of food are wasted in the world, and especially in Latin America, totals 127 million tons that are lost in stages such as production, processing, handling and storage, distribution and market, and consumption.
Okay, in this chapter, we are going to present the steps of the project. Well, our plan of action for the case study consisted of 10 phases. Well, the first phase, or in phase number one, we as a group defined the topic that we wanted to develop for the work or for the final project. Second, in phase number two, we sought for information related to the topic that we already chose. Following that, in phase number three, we choose the main problem based on the information that we already found. Then in phase number four, we research about possible solutions, but in this case, it was individually. In phase number five, we created a brainstorm with possible solutions for the problem using the information that we research individually. Next, in phase number 6, we select the, the top 3 solutions. In phase number 7, we found the pros and cons of, of each solution. In phase number 8, we selected the best solution to solve the problem. In phase number 8, no, in phase number 9, sorry, we checked the final version of the greeting part of the project, and finally, in step number 10, we elaborated the presentation that we are presenting today.
Why packaging, labeling, and palletizing are important. Packaging. What is packaging? Packaging can be described as a coordinated system of preparing goods for transport, warehousing, logistics, sales, and end use. It keeps products safe and marketable and helps identify, describing, and promoting the products. The package refers to the material that contains the product itself and its use for the protection and also marketing of the brands. Kinds of material used for packaging. It is important to understand those materials because each package has to be designed individually according to the characteristics of its content. The type of materials used depends on the product, type of transport, air, sea, or land, and final destination. Those materials are wooden boxes, cardboard containers, gunny bags, caution materials, belts, and drums. Importance of the packaging and package. Another important point is that even the product has ensured the packaging matters. The basic function of its transfer, packaging, international marketing is to ensure that goods will be reached safely into the hands of the consumers. Risks of bad packaging. There are 7 types of risks that we are going to explain. Damage to the merchandise, delay in transit, unnecessary manipulation of the merchandise, automatic, automatic rejection of any insurance claim, complete deterioration of the merchandise, extra expenses for storage and inspection, affection in the relationship with your client. Finally, of packaging, we are going to explain some statistics. According to 2020 statistics, the packaging industry will be an enormous economic generator that will help the world emerge from the economic crisis in which the world lives today.
Well, the next topic is about labeling. It's important to know all about supply chain makes the handling process safer and save time and also save money. You have to make good labeling. So it's important to know that as long as your goods are labeled correctly with the right shipping marks, it's easy to separate them when the container is unpacked. They need to be easily identifiable. It's very important labeling because when all the losses that happen in the supply chain, the labeling helps to reduce all these costs. Another topic about labeling is barcodes. As you can see, barcodes are there are only lines. But when you scan these lines, show you a lot of information that helps to handle the cargo more secure. Utilizing barcodes with them, the warehouse management system enables you to upload the storage localization into your barcodes, making it possible to easily identify, sort, and dispatch the goods to the relevant location with them, the warehouse. Also, it's very important to note about correct labeling. Uh, Details that you should include in the label are, for example, port identification marks, size and weight of the consignment, number of the carton and total number of cartons in the shipment, product reference. And there are another types of tips that it helps a lot of to make the consignment secure. Ensure the number of packages of your shipment. Declaration matches the number of packages of the shipment. A common error is to list 11 instead of 1 for one piece shipment. When the cargo aircraft only label is required, it must be applied on the same side of the packages of the parcel label. It's important to note that all the label have to put in only one size of the box. Uh, Also, the shipper and the consigning packages marking must be permanently affixed to the package. Don't put them on a piece of paper in a pouch affixed to the package. And, and finally, apply primary and subsidiary heiser labels in the form of diamond. Label must not wrap around a packages. It's because all the label have to put in a side, no around the corner. And finally, when you handle a dangerous product, you have to know that there are 9 types of classes of dangerous goods. You will need to make sure that your cartons are correctly marked with the HISR labels. This is because dangerous goods need to handle with care. For example, there are explosive gases, flammable liquids, flammable solids, and others.
Okay, the last step of the supply chain that we are going to present to you today is the palletizing. But what is palletizing? It refers to the act of placing products on a pallet for shipment or storage in logistics supply chain. The products are stacked in a pattern that maximizes the amount of products in the load by weight and volume, while being stable enough to prevent products from shifting, toppling, and crushing each other. Now we are going to see the consequences of bad palletizing. Um, well, the first and the most important is that it will damage your products, and also it will cost your company time. And as we know in logistics, time means money, so you will lose money. And also it will affect the reputation of your company, because if the buyer receives a damaged product, it will affect the image of your company. Now we are going to see some pros of palletizing. Well, first, it will increase the safety in the transport and the handling of the merchandise. It will save time and costs in storage, transport, and handling. You will find lower cost of loading and unloading because of the time mainly, and with the optimization of available space and easy of rotation of where is stored. This point is mainly in the warehouses And well, and also in the transport, because of the containers and all those parts. Now we are going to present the possible solutions that we found.
First of all, to help to reduce all the losses causing in the supply chain, in the case of foods and other merchandise. In this case, we aim to create a more visible, resistant, and easy to understand labeling. It consists of a high-quality water-resistant and UV-resistant label with a very strong adhesive, in addition to using a color system that make easier to classify and order the goods. For example, we are going to use a blue label that means that the merchandise is fragile. Uh, and in this way, with the others colors, because it's important to make more visible these labels and helps to reduce all the cost.
Okay, the second solution that we found is to promote the use of automated systems. Um, it is focused on actions to be taken by the companies and also the warehouses. We propose to, as I told you before, the use of automatic machines to be in charge of packaging, labeling, and also in the case of the warehouses, the palletizing. This allows more efficient, agile, and safe work. These safe systems consist in machines that use artificial intelligence to make the process. These machines know how to manipulate the things according to their functions and the types of system that they use. They are also expensive, but they have a lot of useful functions. And the first is that it reduces the time of work. The systems also verify the quality of the work performed. For example, in palletizing, there are systems that verify that the load is balanced and also the space between the boxes. Well, if the space between the boxes is adequate. We found some pros and cons. The pros are well, more efficiency, greater security, and well, reduction of times. And also some cons, the cost of the systems because well, they are very expensive. And that also some companies are too small to afford this type of machines. So it will affect because the solution will be helping just a little part of the companies involved in the industry. And finally, the companies will need to hire staff that who know how to use these types of systems.
The next solution will be the last solution, and the solution as a group we decide it is the best. The International Guide. This international guide consists of a general booklet of each of these of the stages of the supply chain. This means that it will bring information from specialists in the subject of how to package, label, palletize, and distribute, transport, and protect goods in the chain all over the world. This, this guide will be help producers, farmers, companies, warehouses, and anyone who is interested in transporting goods the best way possible. Finally, it will be also be available in English, Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, and French, and it will be at the hand of the internet so that as many people as possible have easy access to it.
As part of the pros that this international guide provides are that it can be downloaded without any cost in 5 different languages. The guide also provides instructions, recommendations, and basic tips to know the right use of these tools and the stages of the supply chain. It will also help to standardize and simplify the processes, avoiding the additional costs caused by the problems in the supply chain. And finally, the most important pro is that this guide will help to avoid food waste and any kind of waste.
And finally, there are the cons of this guide. First of all, the creation of the guide will be a difficult process because the help of different specialists will be needed. This guide needs a lot of information and a lot of knowledge from different specialists in different areas. The second con is the ISO has to approve the guide for its publication because it's necessary um, for this guide that it has to approve by the ISO. Also, when this ISO wants to be approval of the guide will be a slow and bureaucratic process. It's a long process to make this guide um, available. The fourth one is the guide may not suit all the products on the market. And the fifth one, the training will have a cost because the guide sometimes can be difficult to understand, so need a process to know more about this. And the number six is the guide is not available in all languages. So it's necessary that other people make a translation of this guide. And finally, it's very important to do this solution because around this process to import and export is a very long process. So it needs different solutions to help they reduce all the costs. For example, in food, in electrodomestics, and in another merchandise. So it's for the reason that we put this three solution, but the third one is the most important because it helps to standardize all the process that happen in an import and export process. And thank you very much.